There is a pair of sunglasses sold today for just under $1,000 that protects your eyes no better than a pair you can buy at a gas station for $10. And once you understand why that statement is true, you will never look at eyewear the same way again. Two people can walk into the same store, stand under the same display lights, and walk out with frames that block identical levels of ultraviolet radiation. Yet one pays $10 while the other pays hundreds, believing they just made a better decision. But they did not buy better vision. They bought a different category of product entirely. There are 7 levels of sunglasses. By the end of this video, you will know exactly where the real value stops, where the illusion begins, and which level that pair in your drawer actually belongs to. It is probably not the one the boutique told you. Level 1. Gas station and drugstore. $5 to $15. This is the ground floor. And the first thing most people get wrong about it is assuming it does not work. The frames on a spinning rack next to sunscreen and energy drinks are made from injection-molded polycarbonate, a plastic that costs fractions of a cent per gram at manufacturing scale. The lenses are tinted, not coated. And that distinction matters far more than most people realize. Here's something almost no one tells you. A tinted lens without proper UV filtration actually causes more eye damage than wearing nothing at all. Your pupil dilates in lower light. Without a UV filter, that dilation allows more ultraviolet radiation into the eye than if you had left the glasses on the rack. The protection is not in the darkness of the tint. It is in a filter that costs almost nothing to apply and is regulated by a single label. If the frame says UV 400, the protection is real. It does not matter if it cost $8 or $800. UV 400 is UV 400. That certification is identical whether the frame came from a gas station rack or a Chanel boutique. If the label is not there, put it back. What level 1 cannot give you is optical clarity, durability, or lenses that stay scratch-free past the 3rd week. The hinges are stamped. The acetate is thin. The lenses distort light in ways you will notice after an hour of driving. But if you need UV protection for an afternoon at the beach, level 1 works. It was built for exactly that. Coming up, the level where brands enter the picture, and where the first gap between what you pay and what you get begins to open. Level 2. Fast fashion eyewear, $15 to $40. This is where brands appear for the first time, and where the first uncomfortable truth arrives. Fast fashion retailers update their eyewear every season, the same way they update their t-shirts. The frames are sourced from manufacturing facilities in China and Taiwan that supply a significant portion of the global eyewear market. The acetate is thinner than premium frames. The hinges are lighter. Spring mechanisms, when they exist at all, are stamped rather than machined. What changes at level 2 is the design language. These frames are styled to photograph well, trend-driven, and replaced when the season ends. That is exactly what they were built for. The lenses at this level are injection molded rather than cut from optical grade sheet stock. That produces a subtle distortion effect that causes eye fatigue after extended wear. At $35, you are not paying for optics, you are paying for the look. There is nothing dishonest about that. The problem only starts when someone treats a level 2 frame like it should perform like a level 4. Or when a brand charges level 4 prices for level 2 construction. That is the exact business model you will see in level 5. Level 3 is where the names you recognize start appearing, and where the most revealing story in this entire video begins. A story that starts at a gas station in 1999. Level 3. Entry-level branded, $40 to $100. In 1999, Ray-Ban was selling for $19 at gas stations across the United States. Not a discount, not a promotion. $19. Next to lottery scratch cards and engine oil, Bausch and Lomb, the medical company that had owned Ray-Ban since 1936, had allowed distribution to collapse into every discount channel available. The frames were failing at 4 times the rate of competitors. The brand that had sat on the faces of generals, pilots, and counterculture icons for 5 decades was finishing its collapse at convenience store prices. Luxottica paid $640 million to acquire the brand in 1999. The first decision was not product, it was location. They exited 13,000 points of sale. Every gas station, every drugstore, every discount outlet, and moved Ray-Ban into Neiman Marcus and Saks Fifth Avenue. The product did not meaningfully change. The price changed. By 2002, the entry price for aviators was $89. By 2009, $129. Today, the standard aviator starts at $163. By 2014, Ray-Ban was generating over $2 billion in annual revenue, a growth of more than 8 times in 14 years on a product that had not structurally changed. That is not a product story. That is a real estate story, the same glasses, a different shelf. What you are actually getting in a $75 Ray-Ban is an optical-grade lens in an acetate frame assembled in Italy. The construction is real, the optics are solid, the UV certification is genuine. What you are also getting is the distance between what that frame costs to produce, approximately $10 to $20 at Luxottica's industrial scale, and the $75 on the tag. That gap is not craftsmanship. It is the address of the store selling it. Level 4 is where the money actually starts reaching the product. And most people skip it entirely, which is the most expensive mistake on this list. Level 4, mid-range performance, $100 to $200. This is where sunglasses stop being fashion objects and start being optical instruments. Maui Jim built their entire brand around one question: what does the lens actually do to light? Their polarized lens technology blocks 99.9% of UV radiation, eliminates glare, and enhances color contrast in ways that standard polarized lenses do not replicate. Independent optical testing has confirmed the technology performs as described. Maui Jim is one of the only eyewear brands at any price point competing on verified lens performance rather than lifestyle imagery, and their customer satisfaction ratings reflect it. Persol has been making frames in Italy since 1917. Their flexible hinge mechanism, a system that adapts to the shape of the wearer's face, was patented in 1938. It is the kind of engineering detail that no marketing campaign can adequately explain, but you feel it immediately when you put the frame on. It does not move with you, it fits you. Costa del Mar builds lenses specifically for water glare, worn by fishing guides and marine professionals who cannot afford equipment that underperforms. That is a fundamentally different design brief than a brand whose primary goal is a campaign photograph. At level 4, the money reaches the product. The lenses cost more because the materials and engineering are genuinely superior. The frames cost more because the construction tolerances are tighter. If you wear sunglasses for more than 2 hours at a time, driving, sport, time on the water, this is where you belong. A $150 Maui Jim will outperform a $400 Prada on every optical metric that matters. Keep that number in mind when we get to level 5. Now we reach the level that accounts for most of what you have ever spent on sunglasses. And the information in the next few minutes will change how you look at every pair of glasses you own. Level 5. Designer licensed, $200 to $500. Here is the fact the entire luxury eyewear industry is built on you never finding. One company manufactures sunglasses for Ray-Ban, Chanel, Prada, Oakley, Versace, Armani, Burberry, Coach, Dolce & Gabbana, Ralph Lauren, and Tiffany. One company. That company is essilorluxottica. They also own LensCrafters. They own Sunglass Hut. Over 3,000 retail locations globally. And they own the second largest vision insurance provider in the United States. One company makes the glasses. One company sells the glasses. One company provides the insurance that pays for the glasses in the stores it also owns. Their gross margin in 2024 was 63.5%, published in their own annual report filed with financial regulators. That means for every 100 euros of product shipped, 63 euros and 50 cents stays with the company before they spend a single cent on advertising. Chanel's frames have been manufactured by essilorluxottica since 1999. 26 years of continuous production by the same company making Ray-Ban. A Chanel frame retails between 350 and 600 euros. The physical construction, the acetate, the metal, the hinges, cost 10 to 30 euros to produce at industrial scale. The double C on the temple accounts for the entire difference. Dior's frames were manufactured by the Safilo Group for 23 years. That license represented approximately 125 million euros per year. 13% of Safilo's entire annual revenue. When LVMH moved Dior production to a different factory in Northeast Italy in 2021, Safilo's stock dropped 6% in a single trading day. Not because the glasses changed, because the name on the invoice moved from one Italian factory to a different Italian factory in the same manufacturing town. The Dior retail price did not decrease by a single euro. There is currently a federal antitrust class action lawsuit in the United States accusing essilorluxottica of orchestrating a price-fixing conspiracy in the American eyewear market, with prices alleged to be inflated by up to 1,000%. The lawsuit is ongoing, and on SiteJabber, Ray-Ban, the flagship brand of the most powerful eyewear company on Earth, holds a rating of 1.2 stars. Consumers documenting lenses and coatings failing within months. Warranty claims bounced between Ray-Ban and authorized retailers with neither accepting responsibility. Oakley customers reporting lenses developing cracks within 60 days, with the brand attributing the cause to contact with perspiration. Remember the opening of this video: 2 people, same store, same UV protection, different price. They did not buy better vision. They bought a different category of product entirely. This is that category. Level 6 is the honest version of what Level 5 charges you to believe it is. Level 6. Independent luxury, $500 to $700. This is where things get genuinely interesting and significantly smaller. Oliver Peoples was founded in Los Angeles in 1987 as a single optical shop on Sunset Boulevard. The frames are built in Japan by artisan manufacturers using acetate from a company that has been producing premium sheet stock since 1849. The construction is hand-assembled. The fit is perceptible the moment you handle the frame. Moscot has been making frames on the Lower East Side of New York since 1915, 5 generations of the same family. The frames carry the kind of structural attention to fit that predates the modern luxury licensing model by several decades. These are houses that exist because someone cared more about the object itself than the licensing revenue it could generate. The difference between Level 5 and Level 6 is not always visible in a photograph, but it is always present in the object. Run your thumb along the inside of the temple. Feel whether the acetate has been hand-polished or machine-finished. Open and close the hinge. Notice whether it moves with precision or with play. The physical evidence is there if you are looking for it. At this level, the markup is still real, but the margin is going toward materials, construction, and design, not toward a royalty payment to a fashion house that contributed a logo and stepped away. Level 7 is the final level. And the most honest thing I can tell you about it is coming right now. Level 7. Ultra Luxury and Collector. $700 to $1,000 and beyond. We have left the world of eyewear and entered the world of objects. Cartier has positioned its eyewear at this level since the 1980s. In 2017, Cartier's parent company, which also owns Van Cleef and Arpels, Piaget, and Vacheron Constantin, signed a manufacturing partnership with another eyewear group after their in-house facility outside Paris was, in the words of a luxury goods analyst at the time of the deal, losing material amounts of money, a brand charging 800 euros per pair, owned by one of the most powerful luxury conglomerates on Earth. Could not make a glasses factory profitable. The production moved. The 800 euro price point did not move. The marketing language around exceptional in-house craftsmanship did not move either. At the genuine top of this tier, you find small European ateliers producing frames in runs of 50 to 100 units from hand-poured acetate and colorways that exist nowhere else. The craftsmanship is real. The scarcity is real. The price reflects genuine production cost multiplied by genuine rarity. But here's the truth about Level 7 that no one in a boutique will ever say out loud. The law of diminishing optical returns expired at Level 4. A $900 frame does not protect your eyes better than a $150 Maui Jim. The lenses do not perform better. The UV protection does not improve. Go back to the opening of this video. 2 people. Same UV protection. Completely different price. At Level 7, that gap is not $10 versus $1,000. It is the same principle taken to its absolute extreme. You are not buying better vision. You are buying an object. Its materiality, its rarity, and in the case of vintage pieces, a fragment of cultural history that cannot be reproduced. That is a valid reason to own something. Just be precise about what the transaction is. So where does that leave you? The sweet spot lives at level 4. A $150 Maui Jim will protect your eyes better, perform better under real conditions, and earn significantly better customer satisfaction ratings than a $400 Chanel frame. Manufactured by the same company in the same factory district in northeast Italy, where most of the names in your drawer were assembled within a few kilometers of each other. If you want craftsmanship attached to an object someone actually cared about building, Level 6 is the honest version of what Level 5 has spent decades charging Level 5 prices to pretend to be. And if you have ever stood in a boutique and felt that the price was justified by the name on the temple, that feeling was the product, not the frame. The frame was made somewhere you were never told about, by a company you were never meant to look up, at a cost that the receipt in your pocket was designed to make you forget. Now you know where to look.